What's up, everybody? It's Will, and I'm really excited today to have Elissa Husby on the phone with me. She's at Bellisio's in Duluth, Minnesota, and she's a service and beverage manager. She's awesome, and we're excited that she took the time on her day off to check in with us. So thank you, Elissa.
Yes, of course. I'm excited to be here.
Good deal. Good deal. So the first thing I always like to ask people is how and when did you get started in the hospitality business?
So I actually have kind of a funny story for you.
Let's hear it.
Um, so I went to a job fair through a bunch of the small colleges in Minnesota, thinking, because my degree was in business with a minor in math, and I thought, okay, I'll work for insurance, or maybe I'll think about taking the test to be an actuary or something very analytical. And I went to this job fair and had this whole idea in my head. And I ran into one of my friends who was in a business law class of mine, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come to my booth?" And I thought, "Your booth? Aren't you trying to get a job too?" And so what his booth ended up being was for a guest ranch in Montana that he had spent a summer working there in between semesters. And so I went and talked to the general manager of the ranch, and we got along really well, had a great conversation. And from there, everything else that I went to at the job fair, I just remember looking down this long line and seeing suit and tie, suit and tie, suit and tie, and thinking, I'm still young. What am I doing? I'm going to go out and have the summer of my life. And so I ended up working there on and off for 5, 6 years.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So, okay, so you kind of had a bit of an epiphany there, thinking about corporate America and suit and analytical stuff. I mean, that's a far cry going out and working on a.
I know.
That's really cool. I mean, so but you would go out there. Like, how long were you? How long was it? Summer or how did that work?
So it was seasonal, and so most of the staff are there during the summer months, and then um, they keep some staff on for shoulder seasons, but they don't really have, they only have like a very small team there over the winter. And so I would find kind of, I'd go back to school as well, and then when I was done with school, I ended up finding odd jobs. I went and worked as a lifty by day, worked in a restaurant at night in Winter Park, Colorado. And then during one of my stints, I moved back to Duluth and worked at the Duluth Children's Museum. It was just so different than what I thought I was going to be doing.
Oh yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, what a fortuitous thing to happen at that job fair. Just changed everything for you. So, so you're from Duluth, is that right?
Yes. So, after working and traveling around for a little while, I kind of had this feeling of missing home and wanting to revisit what my hometown was as an adult. And because Duluth was kind of getting on the map too as this outdoor city with all these new trails, and I still had a strong kind of network of friends and family here, and I thought, maybe it's time to just kind of pick up the pieces and go back home and maybe stay there for a short time. Of course, like nothing ever turns out how you think it's going to. So I thought, hey, a job fair worked once. I'll try a job fair again. And so I went to a job fair in Duluth, and I ended up meeting the general manager of Bellisio's and the regional manager of Grandma's restaurant company. And 2 days later was hired on as a front of house supervisor slash server. And that was a couple of years ago now. And then I kind of transitioned into my role now as service and beverage manager.
Gotcha. Okay. So at a job fair, huh? That's interesting. So they were there at a job fair. Have y'all picked up a lot of folks at job fairs, or is that something was that something that's common for Bellisios and the folks at the group, or?
Yes. So in a way, yes. And in a way, no. I sort of learned that we do have an annual job fair for all of kind of the restaurants and hospitality in Canal Park. And
Okay.
so that's pretty neat. People can come in with an application and just speak to many of the businesses there. And then, since the job fair worked for me, I've been in touch with some of the colleges here to get on board with working a booth at one of their job fairs. So, it's kind of tough. Like, we all know that it's hard to find employees and quality employees sometimes. So, we're just trying to get creative with whatever we can.
Boy, I tell you what, everybody tells me that now. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like I interview several people a week on this podcast, and everybody's telling me how hard it is to find good people now. That's a interesting thing. It's a little concerning. So you have to, once you find them, I guess you have to really work hard and be creative to keep them, huh?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. We call ourselves at Bellisio's and Grandma's Restaurant Company. For Bellisio's, the general manager, Leanne, and I say, we are a small team but big family. When you join us, you are joining a family for life. And so we just try to be hospitable to the people wanting to come and work for us. And then as Grandma's Restaurant Company as a whole, if somebody comes in and I think, you might be a better fit for Little Angie's, the Mexican restaurant, or the Sports Garden, we will all kind of help each other out as a bigger team.
How many restaurants does Grandma's Restaurant Company have?
So there is Little Angie's, and then we actually have a family fun center that, a little bit different side of hospitality, Adventure Zone. We have Grandma's Sports Garden. We have 3 different Grandma's Saloon, one in Canal Park, one up by, we call it up on the hill by the mall area, and then one further up north in Virginia.
Okay, good deal. Oh, really? All the way in Virginia, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So then you're part of a good organization that, certainly something that you and your GM and the folks there can pitch to candidates is, look, you're a small team, you're a big family, but there's, this business is diversified and there's opportunities to grow within the business and as the business grows, which you've already experienced that yourself. But that's a good, I always feel like it's, with small businesses like that, there's oftentimes more opportunities to grow. If you attach yourself to a successful, good, small business that's got that family atmosphere that's looking out for their team, then you really give yourself a lot of opportunities, whereas sometimes in corporate America, there's, it's a little harder and more, just some different challenges. But a group like yours, you probably have always good opportunities if you're working hard and, doing a good job, I would guess.
Yes, absolutely. And something that I feel so lucky about is our owner and our president know all of us by name. And I actually just got back a couple of days ago from what we called the corporate retreat, where they took us to Menacing Acres, this beautiful resort in Wisconsin, and we all shared ideas and talked about how everything's going and just kind of shared in fellowship and stories. And it's so important to, you can go to a job and think it's a job, and then you kind of cross that threshold into, wow, this is really turning into a vocation for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's special that they do that. They're really investing in their team, and that's it's one thing to talk about things like being a family and that's certainly something that's, a lot of people know sounds good, but they're clearly backing that up with actions, and I can tell that just through talking to you. That's really genuine there. So that's refreshing and good to hear. They're making that kind of investment in their team.
Yes.
So, well, what is it about hospitality that I mean, you were a business major with a minor in math, and you were thinking analytical, and you said actuarial, like, okay.
I know.
And then now you're in hospitality. So what is it about hospitality that got you, kind of fired up and clearly has kept your fire burning?
So, okay, something that has always kind of struck true with me. My parents are small business owners, and it is literally a ma and pa store. Like, it is just my mom and dad. They met in art school, and they are full-time artists. So since I was 3, and since, like, when they taught me how to talk, they taught me how to sell, and I was out there, like, selling the art and talking to customers. And I think it's that interaction with people that is something hospitality provides. You're meeting new people all the time. You have your regular customers that you're building relationships with. You're able to really connect with your community, because there's nothing like a plate of food on a table full of people trying to connect that can really bring people together. So I think I tell our hosts all the time, we have the opportunity to throw a party every single day. So every time someone is walking in, this is your house. You're welcoming them in, and people are coming in to celebrate their birthdays and anniversaries, and you get to kind of be the person to start off that experience for them. So I think it's just that overarching theme that makes it exciting to go to work every day.
Yeah, and that's a great way to look at it, and a very different way to look at it when you really think about owning this. And this is this isn't just a job where you're working for a restaurant to make some money. You're part of a team, and we're bringing people into our home, and this is your home too. And that's got to be really empowering to your staff.
Yeah, I mean, what's kind of fun about Bellisios is we have like 3 different generations going on. So you have the hosts who this is their first job ever, so you're relating on that level. And then you have kind of the college age, just out of college, figuring out, what they want to do, if they are looking at a restaurant as a career, or kind of looking at their life after such a big step as college. And then you have people who have been with us. We have servers who have been with us since the beginning. So it's kind of a fun, like putting on your different hats to your staff every single day to relate to them in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's really cool. What have you learned from, and you talked a little bit about this with just the fact that your leadership knows everybody by name and things like that. What else have you learned since you've been there about hospitality and business?
Oh gosh, the main thing I've learned is that I am always learning.
Yeah, there you go. All right. You can never stop learning.
That is probably my biggest takeaway, that the minute when I was younger working at the guest ranch, I think there's like a lot of growing that has happened since then in like learning about people and learning about there's more than one way to think about something, and there's always learning you can do to relate to people, to relate to your products, to relate to your customers. And I think that is by far the biggest piece.
Well, that's a great way to look at things for sure. I mean, you're wise to have that philosophy, no doubt about it. What is most challenging about what you do?
First of all, I want to say I appreciate Schedule Fly so much, because when
that wasn't a setup question. I didn't.
No. Because this at first, coming in as a newer manager in the company, at first doing the schedule was a big challenge for me because, like I said, you have 3 different generations and you're trying to see like, okay, there's seniority here, but there's great job performance in this new person. How do I do this and make this my own? And so people will come up to the office when I'm doing the schedule and I'll say, okay, hold on just one more minute. I'm playing human Tetris right now and trying to put all these pieces together of making this the best for everyone. And honestly, I've worked at a place that has had a paper schedule, and it is seriously so nice to have everything at your fingertips and being able to move things around. And that has made that challenge that much easier. But outside of schedule fly, I would say, the challenges of when a reservation of 10 people walk in and it was never written down.
Ooh.
And you have to, I remember this one night, 10 people came in dressed to the nines to celebrate a big event. And they said, we're here for a reservation. And I look at the books and just go, oh my gosh, we're going to have to get creative here. So I turned to the hosts and said, all right, this is going to be an Ocean's 11 hosting moment. And we rearranged the entire restaurant, pulling tables from different sections to be able to accommodate those 10 people coming in that night. So it's kind of a combination of daily challenges met with people and met with kind of bigger challenges of what we're trying to do to meet our goals.
Well, that is a that is a tough one, and to be able to think through that, keep your cool, and come up with a solution is really that's impressive. So I'm sure you learned a lot. You said you're always learning. I'm sure you learned a lot that night. And did they know? Did they know that y'all had not, or did you just kind of just roll with it and figure it out and not tell them?
No, I was completely open with them.
Yeah.
And I spoke with them and said, you know what, we are 100% going to make this work. And just kind of, joked with them. And, it's like if you invite someone over to your house and suddenly the main dish is coming out of the oven burnt, you have to, be lighthearted about it.
You're right. What can you do? Well, that's cool.
Right.
I bet they appreciated you being still up front like that too. They probably, that makes the experience even more memorable for them. Like, hey, they kind of blew it. They forgot it. They didn't write it down, but then they made it work. Like that makes it even more meaningful in some ways. So, well, that's really cool. That's a good story. And that kind of course, in hospitality, that kind of stuff happens more often than we'd like it to. Probably not that specifically for getting reservations, but just stuff happens all the time, doesn't it? Fires.
Yeah.
Pop up
Things happen
every day. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. You gotta, I tell you one thing, you certainly have to learn how to juggle a lot of stuff at once and keep a level head about you, or you'll go crazy, won't you? Well, this is awesome. Well, listen, you are on your day off, and I really, really genuinely appreciate you taking time to do this. And I thank you for it. And I know that everybody that listens will, there's a lot of good wisdom coming out of this conversation, and I think your approach and your philosophy is really admirable, and you're with a really good group. So, and that was really kind of you, what you said about schedule fly. I never ask people to talk about schedule fly on these things, and when it comes up, I do appreciate it. We're thankful to serve y'all, and we appreciate it, and thank you for doing this.
Yes, of course. I appreciate that you're always there for us if we ever have any questions, and I appreciate you taking the time to kind of let me tell my story in hospitality, and it is fun to kind of say some of the things out loud that you're thinking, so I appreciate the kind words, and this is great.
Awesome, Elissa. Well, I appreciate it. Well, listen, I'm going to let you roll. Have a nice day off. Tell everybody at Bellisio as we said hello, and let me know if I can ever do anything for you.
Sounds good. Same to you. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. See ya.
You too.